Yeah, so the one thing I've learned, and it took me a while to figure this out, is just to not give a damn. And I think this you learn this over time. What I'm trying to say is, yes, you start to understand that people really just don't give a shit what you do, because they're way into their own lives to even care and you or even notice you. Like, sure, like they see what you do, but when you do it within the first, like, what, 5 seconds max, but everybody's in their own world, dude. Like, and I mean, I think about it too. Like, how often do you care when somebody else is doing their thing, right? You see a person cold approaching. You see a person acting retarded. You see a homeless guy or a drug addict doing their thing, right? And you just only notice for like, what, 5 seconds max, 5 seconds max, and you're on your way. And that's the idea I want to share with you guys right now, is the art of just not caring, and well, on top of not caring, knowing that people don't care, and it's okay to make a fool out of yourself, because you're not gonna see this person ever at all in your life, especially when you go traveling. And the way I was able to develop this intuition, this confidence, is just practicing and failing. And I've practiced a bunch of times. I mainly practice when I'm abroad, because when I'm in the US, I'm always working, I'm always doing something I'm always busy. And I be busy enough, and I try to be productive as possible, to the point where I can justify going abroad and doing something stupid, vacationing, right? And that's the idea I'm trying to that's the side idea, but the main idea I'm trying to communicate is, like, when you go out there and you go to a store, especially when you're practicing a different language, it's harder. You will make mistakes, and you'll notice certain flaws. You start to become self-aware, and on top of the feedback that you receive from these strangers, especially when you ask, the main feedback that I'm trying to work on right now is my the volume of my voice. Sure, right now I can seem a bit, loud, and normally I am, but when I'm with my friends, but I'm not always going to be with my friends, right? So what I'm trying to work on right now is, when I go out, try to be confident, try to sound like I can be heard. And one thing that I also need to work on, just in general, is like I tend to mumble. I tend to just smush some words together and then call it a day. That's one thing I'm trying to work on, but that comes with time, right? I think that comes with, speaking slowly, even though I have a hard time doing that. Speaking slowly, and just speaking with a volume where people can hear. And I should know this, because I have a hard time hearing too. So it is, you give and a take, right? But anyways, how I build this confidence is simple. So what I did was, when I'm in Europe or when I'm in South America, what I do is just I go to random stores, and I try to practice. And don't get me wrong, like, there's that threshold that you need to overcome, where that initial hesitation, like, oh, I want to go in there, but I really don't. Oh, I don't know what to say. I don't want to make a fool of myself. You don't want to be vulnerable, and that's something that's understandable. But eventually, you just have to do it. And what better way to learn than to force yourself into those scenarios, right? Like, so you go abroad, right, and try to figure out your way around the airport, your way around the city, and for the most part, you can do it self-sufficiently, because you have your phone, right? But, like, say eventually you're gonna get hungry. Eventually, you're gonna want to buy something from the store, whether it be some clothes, whether it be food at the grocery store, food at the restaurant. So essentially, you're gonna be forced to do something, right? And no, you shouldn't always rely on Uber or the equivalent, depending on the local region. You should, practice some interpersonal communication, right? Go out there and talk to people, is what I'm trying to say. And this comes with time. And when I first started traveling, it wasn't like, it didn't come naturally to me, but I did know I needed to practice and get myself out there, and that's what I kind of did. Even though it takes a piece of you, I'm not gonna lie to you, especially if you're not as extroverted and you're more comfortable not doing, stuff, different things that's out of your comfort zone, right? And I think that's the beauty of traveling abroad, especially when you go by yourself, because you're the person that you need to rely on, and that's never a bad thing. But yeah, that's pretty much the point of my video. It's just gaining confidence after, you know, gaining confidence with practice. Practice speaking with people, practice the second language that you're trying to learn, practice just walking into buildings. It's easy doing it when you're in the US or wherever you're from, because you have to go to the local store often, you have to go to the gym often, you know, X, Y's, and Z's. I guess the one thing that we all can work on that will definitely improve in your confidence is cold approaching. But one way to do it without cold approaching is literally going abroad. But then again, there's a huge cost to entry in that point, right? So pick your poison. If you want to practice talking to people, it doesn't have to be girls, but definitely girls is one thing that you should be doing if you're a guy and you want to continue your bloodline. Just to go out there and just start talking with people. Be outcome independent. Not care if the person wants to reject you or not, or want to go out with you. Not care if the person doesn't understand you. Not care if you can't get your point across. You know, this comes with time, and initially you're gonna feel like crap because you're like, oh god damn, like I wish I had done a better job. And there were moments where I wish I did too. But it's a learning process, and it's a learning process. A lesson that we all should eventually go through. And I invite you to go out there, touch grass, go talk to people, practice your voice, practice you being you out of your comfort zone in front of everybody else. All right then, fellas, later.
Targeting objective Bravo.